Where do we even start with the silver action Friday and Monday? Technically Sunday night when the access or overseas markets open. And I was confused at first how basically essentially circuit breakers were triggered for silver. I said, well, wait a minute. I thought it had to be $3 moves. I went and read the update from the CME group, which was published December 2014, 14th or 15th, I believe. Sure enough, it says it. So I'm like, how did the hell this happen? Then I realized it was the overseas markets, Sunday night, right? Shanghai markets. Limit up, as they call it, which means it rose too quickly. It was skyrocketing. They had to shut it down. Now, this is interesting because this isn't the COMEX market, right? This is the Chinese market. The COMEX has a $3 move that'll trigger circuit breakers, whereas China doesn't have what appears to be not even maybe $1.50. But it might simply be based off of what percentage the increase in silver rose on Friday, being the last trading day they look at. Monday comes around, which again is late Sunday night. Monday comes around, based off of how much it rose Friday. It's rising this much this Monday. Stops or not stops, but limits are triggered, which is again like a circuit breaker triggering. So I don't know what their algorithm is that determines if the previous day rose a certain percent and then this day, I don't know what China's rules are. But I do know what the CME group rules are, and that is $3 moves. So you might ask, well, why would China want to stop that? Why wouldn't they just let it go? Because China has the same problem that we have in other modern banking system or world leaders, countries, westernized system, the banking system of today. And that is gold and silver are competing currencies against different dollars. US dollar, the Chinese dollar, the Russian dollar. It's all competing. Now, China, as you know, has been massively buying gold and silver. India as well, Russia as well, numerous other countries, but those are the big three that have really been buying. If they're still buying, and they are, wouldn't you want to buy it cheap too? You wouldn't want to let it run up and then scare people out of your current system and flood into precious metals or anything for that matter. You wouldn't want that. As a government of any country, you would not want that. So it makes sense to me that China absolutely would treat this like any other market. We're going to have these little limits reached, okay, circuit breaker time. So here I am. It's 9:47 p.m. Monday night, July 4th. Why the sheeple set off Chinese-made fireworks to celebrate Independence Day when most people don't even know independence from whom. I just know it's time to party a little bit and have a drink and got a day off from work. That's what it's become anyways. But so now, overnight session, markets are on. Silver's down 54 cents. Gold is down $7.55. So we had silver at around 1970-ish on Friday, close of Friday. Sunday night, access markets open, as usual. And it blasts through $20, goes into $21. I think it was $21.15. $21.15? I believe it was $21.15. Trying to find the exact price. $21.15. Update: silver has sliced through $21 to $21.15 and is now limit up after rising another 8% following Friday's 7% move. 8% up plus 7% up, 15% up in 2 freaking days? Are we reading this right? The answer is yes. So am I shocked to see that all of a sudden the club is ready to do a number and has started late this evening? They're already doing it. Silver's down 54 cents, down past the 20 mark, back down in the $19 range, $19.85 at this point, as far as where I'm at in this video anyways. So I find that very interesting that this happened in a 2-day period of time. And people thought, and probably some still think, $3 day moves in silver, I don't think that'll happen. $5 like the Webbot was talking about, that's never going to happen, much less the $20 moves. Oh my God. I say sit back and relax and get some popcorn because the global financial system is going down. They're going to try like hell to do it this year, like they did last year, end of last year. This is according to Lindsey Williams. They are hell-bent on making it happen this year. The fact that I just saw this other video or movie I told you about, Money Monster, it's got the 777 as I showed in my previous videos, or 1 or 2 videos ago. And numerous times throughout the video, 7 was in your face. And of course, we have the date 9/23, which is interesting because last year, in a whole bunch of movies, even leading up to last year, that same date was in those movies. Remember, was it 9/21 or 9/23 previously? The number we kept seeing over and over again. I thought it was 9/23 as well. But again, that 7-year cycle ends. It's a Jubilee cycle or a Grand Shemitah cycle. There's different names for it. The 7-year cycle is a Shemitah cycle. But 7 of the 7-year cycles is a 49-year cycle, the super Shemitah, if you will, as they call it, which ends in a Jubilee year. And as I've mentioned, this will not be a Jubilee year for you. It will be a Jubilee year for the bankers, destroying the entire financial system, thus giving themselves their own Jubilee. So it makes sense that it happens later this year. On top of this, and this was posted also today, earlier, from Silver Doctors. I read this. Someone actually sent me a link, I think, about this like three, something like that, days ago. And I looked at it. I said, that's interesting. But this company also does, like, I think, currency trading and different things too. But it is Sweden's largest gold and silver dealer that also does other stuff like currency trading and things like that. So I thought, well, is it related to that? But a few days have gone by, no news has changed, and the company has made a statement simply that the authorities kind of shut our bank account down. We're not sure why. We weren't given a reason why. So bear with us while we find another way to do transfers. Which, again, would be quite shocking if this was some company in America and the government couldn't give you a reason and just said it's in the best of our interest that we go ahead and shut you down, kind of a thing, without saying what exactly that means. But it says, with European capital scrambling into gold and silver following Brexit, the cartel just played their hand. The plan this time is not door-to-door confiscation, but simply to shut down the best gold and silver dealers the moment the public begins to wake up. The cartel have tipped their hand. Case in point, Sweden's largest gold and silver dealer, Tavex Guld and Valuta, whose bank accounts were suddenly closed Thursday without notice by Swedish bank SEB due to a general business decision. That's all you get. Notice posted on Tavex Guld and Valuta's website that as of 3:30 on June 30th, 2016, they can no longer accept bank deposits or transfers as SEB has shut down their bank accounts without notice, leaving the precious metals firm scrambling to set up alternate payment systems. And this is Google translated to English, but warning of change in Tavex AB's payment. Best customer. In American terms, that'd be dear customer. Best customer. We hereby announce that as of 3:30, Thursday, June 30th, we can no longer accept bank transfer or bank deposits for gold and silver to our Swedish SEB account. Now that's interesting to me. Let me stop. Because I know they do other things aside from gold and silver. When I first read this, They do currency exchange and all kinds of stuff, trading. But this is the first time that I heard we can no longer accept bank transfers or bank deposits for gold and silver to our Swedish SEB account, which tells me other things are okay, but gold and silver, if you want to do that, we can't. That money can't come into our account. It doesn't make sense. The reason for this is that SEB, at very short notice, informed us that they will close down our bank account. This decision has, unfortunately, been made without first consulting us, and in addition to state in its notification letter that the decision to close our account due to, quote, a general business decision, end quote, they have not given us any concrete reason why they decided to take this measure. So I don't know if they wrote this or someone else wrote this, but it says the banking system in Sweden is operated, however, vigorously towards a cashless society, as you probably are aware of, and Tavex has, as one of the largest wholesale suppliers of physical notes and investment metals in Sweden, as we see it become a target for the major commercial banks. With that said, we are working frantically to set up a new payment system that we believe will be operational in 2 to 3 weeks. The strategy makes perfect sense from the cartel's point of view. While stackers worry about a gold and silver confiscation event, the concern for the elite in today's financial world is not the 0.1% that own precious metals. It is keeping physical gold and silver out of the hands of gradually awakening masses, particularly when they're suddenly awake via an event like Brexit or their money has been bailed in to bail out a bank. In fact, the plan has already been tested and implemented in the U.S., and is simply lying dormant, awaiting the go signal under the program known as Operation Choke Point, which I went and looked up, and it gives the government some very handy tools in certain situations to close down some bank accounts if they needed to, amongst other things. If you haven't acquired your financial insurance before the financial crisis hits, don't expect the elite to allow you to acquire them once the shit hits the fan. Which is why I've always said, Jay Snip, man, should I wait? Do you think it's going to come down? Should I wait a little bit? When should I buy some? My friend, every day is a good day to buy some silver. Answer: it was a good day when it was 40. It was a good day when it was 30. It was a good day when it was 20. It'll be a good day when it's 50. It'll be a good day when it's 60. It'll be a good day when it's 100. Because like Bitcoin going from a few dollars to, 1,000, I believe you're going to see silver going into the hundreds. And again, because people have such a hard time understanding the hows and whys, we are going to have a devalued dollar when those kind of numbers come. It's the devalued dollar price of future silver we're talking about. In any case, devalue or no devalue, whatever you owe in your debt, whether it's a credit card or your mortgage, whatever it is, that ain't changing. That stays the same. So if our dollar gets devalued, you still owe the same amount on your house as when the dollar wasn't devalued. However, if you have precious metals, you then can sell them for highly inflated dollar prices and pay off your house a lot easier. And after I read the Webbot report, this latest one, which you just saw, it had me thinking, how it talked about Canada and maybe with Australia along with them. It was Canada and another country. We would see their dollar devaluing even more heavier than it is now against our dollar. Not that it matters too much because our dollar would be following suit sooner or later, but for the time being, theirs would go down more. And I thought, could you imagine if there was a country you liked? Let's say Canada. Man, I'd like to have a house, a little spot to go to, a little vacation spot or a little shit hits the fan spot. Doesn't have to be a big house. Matter of fact, it can be quite a small house. Just a spot we got to go to. Wouldn't it be nice to say, oh my gosh, very recently the Canada dollar versus the U.S. dollar was practically 1-to-1. And all of a sudden, Canada's, 70 cents to our dollar. Matter of fact, CAD versus USD, let me just, 78 cents currently. So just bear with me for a second. Let's just say Canadian dollar goes to 50 cents compared to our dollar. It's already at 78. It was just, 1 to 1, a dollar, 100, basically 100, right? So 100 turns to 78, which right now it's up a tiny bit. It was even lower than that. So let's say 75 cents. That's a 25% move down from $100. Another 25% move would be 50. So this isn't extraordinarily crazy for me to say this. But just say Canadian dollar hits 50 cents to our dollar. That means anything in Canada just became 50% more affordable than it was. So in, again, US dollar terms, that would be the equivalent of a $200,000 Canadian house all of a sudden in US dollars becoming $100,000. Or, again, you need a small house, nothing fancy, outside of town, Oh, here's a nice one for 100K. Wait a minute, do the math, that's 50K. Oh, and by the way, silver's gone up considerably during some bad problems that the earth is facing, and us people on the earth are facing. So not only was I talking about buying a house in Florida or the US somewhere with my silver, some of my silver, not all of my silver, because I truly believe we'll be able to keep quite a bit of our silver when this happens. Wow, are you telling me I might be able to buy a house in the United States and in a place like Canada that's devalued if I can just time this right? Which also means silver has to go up just timed right. Because if silver doesn't go up, then I can't really time that. But if I was an investor with cash on the side, which I'm not, but if I was and had 100K or something laying around, I would certainly be eyeballing Canada, saying, man, their dollar looks like it might go down even more against ours. Time it perfectly, and you are set. So it was just something that kind of piqued my interest as I was reading that in the Webbot report. But he didn't talk about that, but he talked about the Canadian dollar going down even more against our dollar. And that's what sparked a little thought in my mind that, man, you might be able to get a piece of property up there freaking dirt cheap. Then not only what I just talked about, those reasons why, but the fact that real estate's going to be crapping out in the near future as well. Starting with, according to Webbot, and I think this is blatantly obvious, high-end real estate, to be followed by normal real estate. So again, if this could just play out perfectly for all of us stackers, silver price explodes, Canadian dollar devalues even more, housing market crashes too, people in Canada, I want out, I thought this was an investment, it's definitely not what I thought it was, I thought it was going to turn around, it looked like it was turning around, and now it's no way, I want out quickly, I want to sell. Hey, my name is Jason for Florida, United States. I'd like to make an offer on that house. Would you like silver or US dollars? Because a chart I'm looking at, here's a little chart. This is what your dollar did against ours over the last few months, which means by giving you US dollars, you're actually making more money. And if you hold on to them, you might even make more money from the looks of it. But I'll give you a little secret. I listened to this thing called the Webbot report, and it said the US dollar is going to start crashing after that as well. So you may not want to hang on to it for too long. Pro tip, convert that into silver or gold, whatever you prefer. And don't bother contacting me, thanking me later when it happens. This is just history repeating. And I appreciate you selling me that house, because now I got a place to go to in another country, which is just north of us. So that would be an unbelievably awesome scenario, given that if that scenario were to come true, it's not going to be a fun time to be around playing, let's see who can hold the American dream the longest game that's going to be coming. Take care.